Hey everyone, this podcast is part of Story Mode, the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. You can support us and gain access to other great exclusive podcasts like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman by heading over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Hypecast mit Tom Reimann und David Bell.
Should we start the episode? I was just gonna continue to bullshit.
No, I assume this is what the money is really for.
Yeah,
it's for the in between stuff, right? It's the hype, and then it's the dressing, the cilantro on the plate.
Yeah,
speaking of money, I got my stimulus check.
I'm still waiting on mine, you son of a bitch.
Was it an actual check?
Yeah, it's a physical check.
Did you get it? It was signed by Donnie?
No.
Oh.
It was not.
Interesting.
It was signed by, I think, some other guy. I don't know. I didn't recognize the signature. Yeah.
I received a letter several weeks after I received my stimulus explaining to me that it was from Donald Trump in a letter that he signed.
Oh, my God.
So I can expect that.
He did.
That is the saddest fucking ego thing in the world.
Yeah, that's very funny. I did also I got a stimulus check from the city of Pasadena for $68. I don't know why.
You did.
That's weird. That must have been
money.
That must have been some ordinance. Yeah, some local ordinance.
It was something where they were like, we're during this difficult time, we're taking like averaging what you've paid on these specific bills and giving you money based on it.
Sure.
And it was based off of probably like my gas bill, which is non-existent. So it's like, cool.
Man, I wish our city would give me, because let me tell you, man.
Yeah.
Gas and water
what are they doing?
Gas and water and electricity jump way the fuck up when you move from a single bedroom apartment to a house.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Well,
I'm talking hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
I understand. And Tom, I have sympathy for you, but your house is a goddamn palace compared to what I'm living in right now. So I love you, my friend, and I do feel your tragedy, and yet it's like I have to weep for the king with his crown.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Right? I can't have it. I can't have it, Tom.
Yeah, it's like I have too many rooms in my castle. I don't have enough gold to fill it up with.
I was thinking of getting several dungeons. What do you think?
Ooh,
Could I use
more
several
dungeons?
I have 3 game rooms overlaid with gold, of course.
Look, you can never have too many dungeons.
That's true.
Right.
One for every day of the week.
You can truly never have too many dungeons.
Mm-hmm.
I think my favorite thing about every palace story I've ever read that was like from antiquity is that they spend more time talking about what it's made of.
How many palace stories have you read?
Dude, a lot. There's like all kinds of shit in like maybe not palaces, but like you read like Homer, or you read like the Bible, or you read like any of these ancient things.
I'm not going to do any of that.
Yeah, that's
they
not
spend
happening.
forever on the building materials.
Right.
Like they spend forever on that.
Look, it was really important to them.
Right. It was like, do you know how hard it is to get cedars from Lebanon? We had to ship them over.
Yeah, that actually does check out.
Buckle up, because I'm about to fucking tell you how hard it is.
You know how many elephants broke their backs carrying these cedars over here to make this extra palace?
7 elephants!
That's more than any of us had ever seen in our whole lives.
I didn't even know elephants were real, and all of a sudden I'm looking at 7 dead ones.
That's how they used to brag. They'd be like, "You like my place? 10 elephants."
Yeah, 10 dead elephants.
Yeah.
They used to brag in dead elephant. That
Yeah.
was their.
That was a metric of success, was how many piles of dead elephants you had on your property.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in the 90s, it was speedboats.
Yeah.
But in like the 3000 BCEs, it was dead elephants.
Right, and eventually we might circle back around to dead elephants. Who knows?
Dead elephants were the cigarette boats of Mesopotamia.
I got to tell you, by the way, any of you who've ever read any Homer, it is a real goddamn disappointment when you start the Odyssey and realize, oh, everything I know about the Odyssey is like 50 pages.
Right.
And the rest of it is just a goddamn feast that goes on forever with games before they have a conversation. It's infuriating.
Well, see, every adaptation just pulled out all the good parts.
Yeah.
Right. They cut the bullshit. Like, let Blake Snyder have a shot at this, can we?
Right? He picks it up and it's like, okay, Homer, first note, real quick. I'm going to cut out pretty much this whole food scene.
Yeah.
But that is like 300 pages. I know, and it's all boring. So it's got to go.
I know.
Homie, I'm sorry, man, but it's got to go.
Homie, sorry. Like you're not Thomas. You're not Melville. You know what I mean? You can't do it.
You're not Thomas Harris.
There's no poetry to this shit.
Old books are crap.
Kind of.
This is
like
your
when
favorite
we first,
take.
Look. All right.
No, it's kind of true.
I can appreciate them, but like, all right. Here's my theory: is like when we just started making books. It's like when we started making movies. We wasn't sure like what we needed to put in there, so we'd make a movie that's just like, here's some guys working on a train. And
also,
we fucking loved it.
There wasn't shit else to do, so you would just sit there for like 17 hours reading a book.
And yeah, I imagine books were the same. Where like, should I talk about food for a couple? Sure. I mean, why not?
I think some of it though is that like just hearing the details of like all this stuff is the equivalent of like having a story about your high school girlfriend or something, where it's like it's more gossipy than it is like narrative.
Right.
You know, I feel like that's like half of why that shit is interesting. It's like, oh yeah, they eat that duck meat. Oh, of course they would eat that duck meat. I think that's like what's going on there.
Fuckers stuffing that duck in their maws.
That's right. You know, they have opinions about that.
Yeah.
I couldn't possibly have one. I couldn't even try. That's my theory. Yeah.
Old books
or just old stuff sucks.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, old stuff is just kind of crap.
Yeah. Get rid of it all.
Bring in the new stuff, can we?
Should we start
the show? I guess we should start the show. Welcome to another episode of Hypecast!
Hypecast.
The show where we get hyped about stuff and things and shitty old literature. I'm your co-host, Tom Ryman.
I am the other one, David Bell. What,
God damn it, you've ruined the whole show.
Who, me?
Yes.
I ruined it? I didn't even get it. Look, you're the fucking host. What do you want me to do? It's like, oh, and I'm the guest. Also, this first segment, this is Ganser's segment, so step aside, gentlemen. Right?
Welcome to Ganser Corner.
Yeah.
Let's start it. Let's get it going.
Ganscast.
Sure.
Hi,
sure,
Adam
I apologize.
Ganser. Welcome.
Thank
Our
you.
guest today
it's me, Adam Ganser.
is Adam Ganser, director and
me.
podcaster.
Yeah.
Mr. Adam Ganser.
Man of mystery and feelings.
How
man
are
of old
you?
literature quotes.
Yeah.
I'm great. Just real good.
Yeah?
My apartment has central air.
Oh,
and,
fuck.
I don't like to be this guy, but like that's me slapping a 9-inch dick on the table.
Yeah,
just
man.
like that.
My old apartment had that, and it was a better life. Objectively, a better life.
It truly is. It makes a world of difference in your quality of life.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
It really does. I've never had it since I moved out from my parents' place, which is, like 15 years ago or whatever.
Right.
So, like, I've forgotten, but the legends were true. Mm-hmm. They were definitely true.
I think the first time I had central air in my entire life was 2012. It was like the third apartment I moved to. My fourth apartment. I don't remember. I mean, I lived.
Did you trust it? Did you instantly trust it?
I mean, I believed
As
in
opposed
it. Yeah,
to distrust
I
it?
left it offerings every night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
As you should.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was sorcery. I didn't want to upset it.
The central
I definitely
air
built it a
giveth,
high place and
the central
sacrificed
air-
several virgins each year.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of 3000 BCE jokes today, I guess.
Sure.
I guess that's the joke bucket we're using.
Yeah, that's what's hot right now.
Yeah.
So
Really
we should name some producers.
Oh,
Sure.
I suppose so, yeah.
We should rattle off some names here.
Let's do it.
Folks, we have some producers to thank for this wonderful podcast you are listening.
Yep.
Starting with a very new producer. First-time producer, Vincent. Spelled with a Y.
Woohoo!
What do you guys think
Yeah.
of that?
I get a Constantine vibe. Like I can see him being a ghost hunter or something.
What's our
some sort of
opinions?
vampire hunter.
Yeah, I love a good V next to a Y.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like real, like he's some real time traveling bastard.
Yeah,
That
that's
guy's
fucking
never
beautiful.
worn a crew neck. He's only worn V-necks his whole fucking life.
Well, yeah, his name's Vincent
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah,
or her. I don't know. I don't
Oh, that's
actually.
true. No idea.
could
I
be.
just know. I
Yeah.
just have a name.
We're assuming pronouns here, and that's very reckless of us.
Yeah.
They certainly are wearing an iron cross. Not an iron cross, a Celtic cross.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah, not an
Right?
iron.
Yeah, yeah, not an iron cross, Celtic cross.
Yeah.
We were about to cheer for
Case
that.
with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Vincent. Also, thanks to Rev MD. I also can't assume that Rev stands for Reverend, but I am anyway.
But I'm going to do
Dr.
this.
Priest.
Yeah. Dracula, the bus driving vampire.
That's good.
Thank you, Dracula. Our Dark Lord. HP Love Shaft. Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Never
Solid
not a
name.
pleasure.
Solid. name.
John Muniz.
Yeah.
Thank you, John.
That's I don't know if that's your credit, Dave, or just his, because sometimes a normal name just crushes in this list. Like once in a while, a regular name is just like a kick in the
Muniz?
face.
It's fucking awesome.
Oh, that's a fucking. That's a weird choice.
Yeah.
Tom, you take over.
All right. Wavy Rancheros. Thank you.
You missed Captain.
Captain Toenail. Captain Toenail. Then Wavy Rancheros. Respect the
CT.
order. Dr. Kitty MD.
A lot of doctors here.
Mr. D&E.
Beautiful.
Where did you come from?
Where'd you come from? From your blood.
Bingo. Dino DNA. Should I take over?
Lauren Gucci.
Lauren, thank
Lauren.
you.
Now you go, Adam.
Thank you. Thank you. Bootler Bootlesson. Excellent.
Boodles.
Grumblebee. Underrated. Like
Grumbles.
that name.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
Grumblebee.
Tux.
Tux. I love Tux.
Tux.
Good and simple.
Tux. Welsowski. Enjoyed that. Shepherd Mulch Diggum.
Mulch Diggs.
Fucking Mulch
Pretty good.
Diggums.
And, of course, Norm from Cheers.
Norm
Our
from
favorite.
Cheers.
Norm
Our
from
favorite.
Cheers.
Thank you,
Yeah.
guys.
Thanks, Norm.
Love you guys.
We'll continue on with some more producer names later, but first, there's some trailers we need to talk about.
There certainly are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do it.
Go ahead, Dave. I'm sorry.
Well, I'll just introduce the first trailer. It is Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Woohoo!
Came out today. It's like
The
4
trailer
fucking
did, yeah.
minutes.
Yeah.
It is very long as a trailer.
It is an extremely long trailer, yes.
Yeah.
Finally,
to reveal a thing we know.
That Vikings are never violent and very nice.
Right.
Yeah.
But also, one of the Vikings will be an assassin. Like,
Yes.
thank you. I understand the premise of the series. Thank you for that.
Honestly, I think Assassin's Creed kind of nails it with their trailers sometimes. This was it was a little bit of a miss, but a lot of their trailers always end with the assassination. The one I was thinking of, I don't remember which one it's for, like the French Revolution one. The one where the guy's at like a
Brotherhood?
masquerade party.
Was that
I don't know. They
Brotherhood?
did one
That's
where a guy's at
Unity.
at a masquerade party and he's having a great night of it. And he's like some schlub, and he's like having a great night, and then he gets assassinated at the end of the trailer.
Yeah, he
and I was
does.
like, oh,
That sounds
poor
like
guy.
the French one. Yeah.
yeah. What's the goddamn point of the assassin blade at this point in these games?
None, really.
You don't assassinate people. You're not an assassin in them.
No, they're just action RPGs now.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what they're gonna pivot back.
I hope so. I don't
They
think
will,
Vikings
because-
is going to be that pivot though.
No, Valhalla's not going to be, but there's going to be one of these that doesn't work. And then they're going to be like, you know what worked before? The game we used to make.
Yeah, the game where you like blended into crowds. Remember doing that?
Right,
and like wore
right.
a robe and you would like sneak into bathhouses and fucking like jump down and kill somebody. And it was like it mattered that you weren't seen. Like instead of running in with a flaming axe that you got from Thor and you just chop the person up, which again, I'm not complaining. It's just, you know. I like the other one too.
It does feel like they're setting us up for the equivalent of In Rainbows or Time Out of Mind, when like a big artist rediscovered, oh yeah, this is the thing I'm good at.
Right.
You know what I mean? It does feel like they're setting us up for that, because we've been to Valhalla in a lot of series in the last 5 years, in my opinion.
Yeah, but
right? We've been doing this.
I'm still pretty excited for a Viking-centric Assassin's Creed game.
Mm-hmm. I'm never not excited for an Assassin's Creed game to an extent.
This is not a bad place to go, but I feel like I have to keep saying this somewhere. Like, we've never gone to anything outside of like Western civilization countries.
Right.
We haven't done it, and it's like there's all kinds of stories.
I've said this before.
In India or China or Russia.
Well, they did side-scrolling ones in those 3 specific countries.
Yes, so they could check a box.
Yeah,
like give us a legit entry.
We did get Egypt.
But we got it when Julius Caesar was there.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not a look. We're diverse.
Yeah, there was still it was still ruins and like the pyramids and stuff. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. If you really want to make the best Assassin's Creed ever, have the Animus go back in time to New York in the 70s. Go the other way. I think that's a really cool idea for an Assassin's Creed. Go entirely the other way for one.
Yeah.
Where
it's just Grand Theft Auto.
But you're an assassin. You're still an assassin. Like, you never use guns. You still have the blade. It's just like, what were the assassins up to in the 70s?
I don't want to be terrible, Dave, but I just need to let you know.
But you're just gonna be. You're just gonna be terrible.
I am gonna. You could play any Grand Theft Auto that way if you wanted to.
No, it's not as cool. I want a specific. I want Grand Theft Auto. You don't climb up buildings and sneak around like a little monkey. I want like an Assassin's Creed where you're an assassin in the darkness, just crawling around fucking New York City in the 70s, looking mighty fine.
See, but then I feel like you got to switch a lot of things out. Like, I think the hidden blade is like, just give him a switchblade and a lead pipe.
Ooh,
you know what I mean? Yeah, like let's just go.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah,
just
you know
hitting
like
people with a fucking
legit.
blackjack.
Yeah, fuck it. Oh, it'd be so good.
Yeah, I mean, now you're starting to talk me into it.
Yeah, I think or it doesn't have to be that modern, I guess, but I do think it would be bold to be that modern. Certainly not past the 70s, but I just really like that idea of just going a little closer for fun.
Wasn't the promise of this game that at some point we were going to get a modern entry? Back when Desmond was still a thing that people had to care about, like that we were going to get a Desmond-centric...
We had the privilege to care about Desmond.
Well, yes, but then like all sort of... all overly privileged characters, he became terrible and we needed to get rid of him after a while.
Also, well, he died. Spoilers.
I know. I know. I've played them all. I know.
I do think the Animus is useless in these, especially now.
Yes.
I kind of want I miss when the Animus mattered. I miss when going to the future was cool and there was like stuff and like story there and like missions. I do for Valhalla. They need, like, at this point, they should just, the Animus story should be someone walking in the room and someone else going, "We're doing Vikings now," and the guy like, "Oh, rad," and getting in, and that's it.
Oh, sweet.
And that's the Animus.
Yeah, the game should just start with your experience of watching the trailer.
Yeah.
And then you pick up a controller and then the game starts.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what should happen. Seriously, but you guys can still summon up excitement for Vikings. That doesn't feel like, we've seen it already.
As a premise?
Yeah.
Yeah, for me.
Interesting.
Honestly, for me, Vikings doesn't sweeten or sour the deal. It's just a vehicle in which I can chop people up in a battle.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. Right. Agreed.
And Assassin's Creed, the era in which the Assassin's Creeds have taken place in, haven't wowed me for at least 3 or 4 games.
Wait. I thought the Greek one was great. Like,
the Greek one's awesome. Odyssey is great.
Yeah.
Oh, they're all great. I again, not. I'm always excited for them. It's that the settings, I haven't been like, oh, what a good idea, since maybe the one that was in London, where I was like, oh, we haven't done London. That's an interesting architecture, and it's like a city. Or I liked the one where you're Native American, and it was like, okay, Assassin's Creed, but you're in the woods, and it was like, oh, fuck yeah.
I like the idea of Assassin's Creed 3 for sure.
Yeah, and so since then, it's just been like ancient cities that all kind of look the same.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, obviously they're different cultures and they don't completely look the same, but the like layout has always felt the same since then. And it's you get on a horse and you ride.
It's repetitive.
And there's a couple buildings or maybe a city that you can't really like jump from building to building from anymore. That entire aspect of the game has been just kind of taken away. And it's easier to just walk on the street now holding an axe, and people don't care or notice.
I kind of feel like that decision might be driven by the fact that they actually were a little more limited in terms of what time periods and places they can go than they wanted to admit, by needing to be able to climb and jump from building to building.
Or you do it in New York in the 70s.
Right. I mean, obviously, Dave, if only they listened to podcasts that you had this idea on.
Mm-hmm.
But like when you play Origins, the one that takes place in Egypt, it's like, yeah, Egypt isn't really built in a way to be able to leap from like building to building for long stretches of it.
Here's my pitch.
Yeah.
Lie. Just lie.
Who gives a shit?
Who gives a shit? Right? They always talk about how it's like historically accurate, and it's like, I don't really need it to be. That's
a compelling argument. It's difficult for me to argue with that one.
It's amazing how fast you slapped my arguments right out of my mouth with that simple reasoning.
No, you just lie, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, just make it up.
That was a real curb stop of a point.
Who's checking their work?
Nobody is. After Socrates became like a playful antagonist in Odyssey, it was like, why do I care about the historicity of this?
Yeah. Is Odyssey the newest one?
Yes.
Yeah. That's a note. More fucking. I want my character to be able to fuck any other character if they play their cards right.
Right.
If they're going to go in that direction,
you should be able to do that in every game.
Yes, that's true. Doom, any game.
Just fuck everything.
Dave, you kind of want a Witcher 2 all games, really.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. You want to be able to pilot Mario and then like, wait, is that piranha plant looking at me funny?
Yeah, let's fuck this piranha. Yeah.
Cutscene. Yeah.
I think that piranha
won't
plant
be pleasant.
To fuck. Let's get down. What are we waiting for?
Yeah, exactly.
You goddamn piranha plant. What the hell is your problem?
Yeah. And cut to that piranha plant just eating Mario's ass. Mm-hmm. Just chomp, chomp, chomp.
Chomp, chomp, chomp.
Yeah. I don't know why I had to be the one to outline what happened, but
I don't know. I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did it.
Can I also say, just to say something less monstrous? Did you see how they revealed the actual location? Did you guys catch that particular stream?
No.
So like what they did is they hired this like I guess fairly famous artist to slowly draw the background, and so what he did is he took like a template and he started to fill it in with details, and over a period of several hours it emerged finally where it was set. But it took like hours, and like there was just all this conversation. It was kind of amazing, but it also revealed to me that I'm old now, because I was like, "This is fucking nothing. What is this?" It took me forever to understand the concept of what
that
this
is
was.
Something you could only get away with during a quarantine.
Yeah.
I think.
Yes, exactly.
Where they're like, "Hey, you got 3 hours," and everybody's like, "Yeah." And they're like, "All right, well, watch this guy draw." And they're like, yeah, okay, I'll switch from that drawing stream from the one I was just watching. Sure.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
I can tweet over and over, "This is so compelling." You bet.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Yeah, sure. Fuck it.
Exactly.
We should probably go to the next trailer, right?
Yeah, I suppose we could.
Any other final thoughts? I could talk about Assassin's Creed just all the time.
Mm-hmm. I keep trying to talk Mike into doing more Assassin's Creeds on one-upsmanship.
I have you should do more.
No, I agree, but the problem is that like realistically, there's like if you like in 50 years when we look back at the history of gaming, we're gonna think of Assassin's Creed as like one or two entries, really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The same way that, like, nobody's like, listen, if you're going to make the top 100 records of all time, 5 of them are going to be the Beatles. No, they're not. You're going to pick 2, maybe. You know what I mean? Like, that's it.
Sure.
So it's kind of stupid to cover all the Assassin's Creeds, even though they all got played.
But, like, you're making content, man. So, like...
No, right. But I also feel like people have sort of slowly forgotten kind of what even happened in Assassin's Creed.
Right. And
like if I said Assassin's Creed 4, everyone would be like, all right, which one is that? And they're like, the one with the pirates. And everyone's like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right? But they can't name them from numbers and shit.
Yeah, that doesn't like do like any animus
no,
weird
you do
lore
go to
stuff.
you do go to the future.
No, you do it. No, you do it. But what I mean is that by the third film, it's like you know what the animus is. You know or what the weird magic in the world is. You know what happened. You know about the civilization before us, all that shit. So after that, it's just kind of like, and now you're gonna find out some weird little side notes about stuff, and none of it really matters plot wise.
I think I'm also the only person I know who owned Assassin's Creed 1. Did you own Assassin's Creed 1, Dave?
I don't know, man. Probably.
The one in the Crusades one?
Yeah. With Altair.
Yeah.
Most people never played that game, which is really interesting.
It's funny how there's certain things that game doesn't have that seems so intuitive.
Yeah.
Like when you fall, you can't catch yourself.
Right.
And it's like, oh, that's silly.
Yeah. A lot of little stupid things about it. Anyway, we've gone all around the world, all through history. With this
I have one other note about Assassin's Creed that it's occurred to me. Is I don't consider this my favorite game.
Sure.
I don't think it's a particularly good game, but I realize it's like the only game that I've played every single one since the first and will continue to, and I don't know what that says about me.
What about Call of Duty?
I've skipped a few of those. Call of Duty is pretty repetitive, but yeah,
so
I mean,
Assassin's Creed.
I'm surprisingly good at Call of Duty, but it's not. I mean, it's Call of Duty, man.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Right.
It's the Mountain Dew of games. I don't know, man.
You're a born soldier, but you don't love it. You're a warrior poet.
It is the Mountain Dew of games. Truly,
it really is. It's like everybody's also had a Mountain Dew. Yeah.
Yeah.
We should talk. Let's talk about the trailer for Central Park.
Indeed.
Sure.
Yeah.
My God.
Sure.
This is a musical.
It's a musical animated series from one of the makers of Bob's Burgers that's going to be on Apple TV Plus.
I like the cast of it, although I do think it's weird how many people are cast against gender. There's a lot of people playing against gender in this, or at least it seemed that way to me.
I think that's a Bob's Burgers thing.
Okay, fair enough.
And also, I would argue that's something that happens in cartoons all the time. We just don't realize it.
Well, yeah, I mean, famously, Bart Simpson is voiced by a woman.
Yeah.
Right. I don't have a problem with it. It's just weird when you're thinking about, well, you can cast almost anybody for this.
Yeah, it is weird that they cast Stanley Tucci as the old lady.
Right. That's weird. I thought that too when I was listening to it. I was like, why?
Yeah.
The only thing I like about this somehow is that it's a musical.
Yeah, because it looks terrible. Like the jokes were all awful and dated.
I guess what it is that if people watch this and they're happy with it, that's great.
Yeah.
I don't think I could ever get through a TV show that has musical numbers in every single episode because they can't all be good.
Well, sure, of course.
And I just don't. I like a good musical every now and then, but I can't relax watching a musical. Does that make sense? Like, musicals actually kind of stress me out to watch. The way, like, a horror film would stress other people out.
I can't imagine why. They never kept a take where somebody got hurt or they didn't land the dance move, so it's going to be fine.
No, I just mean the energy.
I see. I understand.
It unnerves me, and I like a good musical, but I don't think I could like I couldn't binge watch. Like I couldn't have fucking musical numbers blasting my apartment for 6 hours binge watching this show. You know?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like something that would be relaxing.
Musicals don't work on me.
You can't hear the music.
Yeah. I'm yeah.
It's a disorder
I'm just
I
immune
have.
to music. Yeah. Like I've been faking it for a very long time, but I just hear sort of like repetitive clicks and stuff anytime anybody plays the CD. No, I never get any of the feelings that people get from musicals.
Sure.
Except for one specific thing that I don't want to say yet because I want to talk about it later on because there's a thing that relates to it. But like I've watched every musical I can, hoping that one day something will light the fire in this old bear's heart, and like I am made of granite or something, because Sound of Music gives me a wall of nothing.
Oh yeah, I'm not into Sound of Music.
I don't care. I don't care about any of them.
Yeah, I'm trying to now think like, what's a musical I really like? I know there are some.
I kind of liked Chicago.
Yeah, I saw that on Shrooms, so I really enjoyed it.
Sure. Chicago I liked because it was sort of like rowdy for a musical.
Yeah.
I hated and not in like a I hated in like a core way Cats. Like there's nothing about it that I liked, and not even in a like ironic this is funny and also it's bad way. I hated it.
Right.
So I don't know, Tom. I can't figure it out.
In terms of, all right, if you want to cut out like hardcore comedies, because obviously, like, you know, the Cannibal the Musical, you know, that's fun.
Never saw that.
No, it's it's very indie. It's Trey Parker and Matt Stone's film school musical.
Thank you. Book of Mormon, the actual musical, I genuinely enjoyed.
Yeah,
I've not seen it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either.
I also haven't seen Hamilton, so before anybody loses their mind, I haven't seen that. So maybe that's wonderful.
Mm-hmm. I like a good stage musical because I like a good stage anything. That's just fun to fucking watch.
That doesn't stress you out?
Are we counting Disney?
No, that's the one thing I wanted to bring up separately.
Okay.
Because Disney has a special place, and I think it might just be nostalgia. I'm not sure.
All right. I'm looking through a list. I really do enjoy the Rocky Horror Picture Show, but like, of course, it's the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Let's see.
How do you feel about like Sweeney Todd?
I
had a friend once.
I enjoyed Sweeney Todd.
I had a friend once that was like, "Listen, I know you hate musicals. This is like an anti-musical." And I went,
"No, it's not.
No, it's just a musical with fucking dark colors. What the fuck are you talking about?
Anti-musical? Get the fuck out of my face."
Yeah.
Singing in the Rain.
You jerk.
Singing in the Rain is fucking great, but that's mostly to do with the dancing.
Movie.
I do like Singing in the Rain. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that one? Is it Funny Face? Is that the one where everybody thinks, is it Hepburn?
Yeah, it's Audrey Hepburn, and everybody's like, "Oh, she's got such a funny face."
Trash.
But I guess, like, everybody's like, "Look at how hideous she is." Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Like,
yeah, I have eyes. What? I don't. None of these are things I care about. Like this is why Barbra Streisand never made sense to me.
Right.
Like her fame and people's love for her is like a person who can't understand a Picasso painting to me. It's just like, it just looks like nightmares. I don't get it, you know.
Wait, what?
Yeah, like, you know, those people who like look at a Picasso and they're like, this just looks like a bad drawing. Mm-hmm. They can't understand why it's great. That's how I feel about Barbra Streisand. I know I'm the problem. I know other people got this right.
She doesn't get Picasso paintings?
Dave,
Jesus Christ, Dave.
You are the problem here. It's not me. It's you, bro.
No.
You are the wall of obfuscation here.
I didn't understand the analogy.
Well, Little Shop of Horrors. Down to explain it.
Little Shop of Horrors is great.
Yeah. I do. No, I don't. No, that one's fine. It's fine. That's not great. It's fine.
I like Little Shop of Horrors. My Fair Lady, that's the one that fucked up the ending, right?
Right.
The adaptation.
Yeah.
Newsies. I mean, everybody loves Newsies just to watch Batman sing. These are all I could just
watch
list
him sing
musicals.
about Santa Fe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Newsies is fine.
I'll give Grease some points.
Grease
I prefer
is also
Grease too, 'cause
fine.
it's more batshit.
Yeah. Yeah, like I know all the songs to Grease because I grew up watching it.
Right, and of course, who can forget Tommy? Tom, the movie Tommy.
There you go. But like, I feel like the key criteria is when you watch these, does it lift your spirits, and do you feel like, wow, the way that people describe feeling when they watch musicals? And that has never happened to me.
Yeah.
Like, other than Singing in the Rain, has a few very transcendent moments. So
right. Because they like really tortured their actors in that one. And that's what I need out of a good musical is pain. I need to know that they ruined their feet doing a song and dance. No, I do feel like I don't know. This is dumb.
I'm sorry.
We're really going far afield here.
I guess we are, but like
I need
somehow
dance
this
as
time,
well as song.
Yeah, that's true.
In a musical. Mary Poppins. Did we talk about Mary Poppins?
Oh yeah, that's a great that one I like more. But Dick Van Dyke is so fucking winsome.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
he's great.
He's a gangly hero, is what he is.
Mm-hmm. Perfect accent.
No matter what
flawless accent. In Mary
loved
Poppins.
him as the old banker in that.
Mm-hmm.
Toppins a bag, baby.
Yeah.
Love that one. Anyway, so to get back to Central Park so that Tom doesn't slaughter me as he justly should. Mm-hmm. Somehow the musical part was appealing in this case, and I cannot figure out for the life of me why.
Huh?
But you felt the same way, right, Tom?
Yeah, I thought the song that we hear was a lot better than any of the jokes or the premise. Like, yeah. Like, I enjoyed the musical aspect of it, but literally every other aspect of what the show is offering, I thought was terrible.
They need
John
Benjamin.
The premise is bad. The jokes were awful.
This is like another thing that's happening a lot in televisions. Like, so like you get this pairing or whatever that makes a successful show, and then they take a co-creator and let them make a different show, but it's not necessarily the person that I want to make a different show. Like Solar Opposites is an example of this, where it's Justin Roiland, right? Roiland,
yeah,
from Roiland
from Rick and Morty, whose voice acting I like a lot, but I still kind of in my heart believe it's Dan Harmon that's driving what I like about that show. So like I'm worried now about Solar Opposites. I'm like, right?
Yeah. There's also this weird symptom where it all feels the same. Central Park, it's not the same as Bob's Burgers, but it's. I mean, this isn't just because of the animation, but it's got the like guy going home to his family, and the family is all kind of sarcastic and weird, and like there's this weird, and this has been happening forever. Is there's that whenever it's like next show, it's like it always feels a little too close to what the person did before.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this with Solar Opposites, where it's like, oh, okay, it's like sci-fi stuff, and it's like it feels very Rick and Morty.
Yeah,
Which isn't to say it's not going to be good. Like it still could be good, but I know what you're also saying, which is that sometimes, I mean, we bring up Trey Parker and Matt Stone again. Clearly, one of those people is doing more of the work than the other.
No kidding. Obviously. Right.
So if that other person branched off and did his own show, it'd be like, I think you guys need each other.
Right, yeah.
Right.
If all of a sudden it was
a
like
gentle way.
Right.
Yeah.
All of a sudden there was a show, it's like, hey, it's from Matt Stone has made a new show. I'd be like, really? He did?
Yeah. He's like, I mostly just got high on a couch. But I think
by
it
the
came
way,
out
that's
good.
what
And they're like,
that's what the Midnight Gospel is. Have you watched that yet?
I can't wait to watch that. I haven't yet.
Okay. I want to talk about it with you whenever you do watch it.
Okay. I'm very excited for that one.
Okay.
After hearing what the premise was, because we talked about it on Hypecast, we didn't know what it was.
Yes.
Yeah,
agreed.
and it sounds like it's not what we thought it was.
Not at all
It's
what it looked
very
like.
different.
Yeah, not at all what it looked like.
It sounds like it's more in the realm of like Harmon Quest or Dr. Katz, where it's like conversations that were then animated over.
Yes, it's like the Ricky Gervais show, only the animation stuff is not comically illustrating what they're saying.
Right.
It's more like a funny context to have this conversation in.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, but the conversation's also kind of stand on their own as not necessarily comedy conversations, but just sort of like...
It's like an animated podcast.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, it's not like that. It's almost exactly that.
Right.
Anyway, we should talk about it whenever we watch it.
Sure.
Central Park is a big shrug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It did make me, because I was thinking about this show earlier, and then I was thinking about actually Midnight Gospel, and then I was thinking about Dr. Katz, and it made me order the 2 first seasons of Dr. Katz on DVD, because that's the only way you can watch them in this world. It's not available online. So thank you, Central Park, for that.
I would love to be the detective who had to trace your finances for a crime. You know what I mean? Just had to, had to try to get into like the head of Dave. We got to figure out how why is Dave buying these DVDs. Can you imagine just watching people try to break down that thought process in a room somewhere?
Trying to decode what the hell he's doing.
Lots of string and then just DVD covers like plastered all over the fucking whiteboard. What a great
So let's talk about this next one. We're 40 minutes in.
Yeah, we should probably move on.
We owe it to ourselves.
Sorry, Dave. I apologize.
Don't apologize. Why are you apologizing? What's there to apologize for?
I guess nothing. I thought this
all
looked
day and a night.
This looks fine to me.
Yeah, I'm interested in this.
I would appreciate not knowing the entire plot.
Yeah, that's true. They do kind of give the game away.
Trailer note, I feel like I've seen this movie. It looks like a very good movie, though. But the trailer seemed to tell you the entire story.
Yeah. It looks like Moonlight minus the kid being gay and focusing more on the gangster.
Yeah,
aspects.
It's got a little bit of a menace to society in it as well, because it's like my father and then I became this, and
I'm hoping that we're looking at more like a premise version and not the actual drama of it. You know what I mean? Like I'm kind of hoping that it's really like they had to do all this work to explain what the premise is, which is effectively like this is a movie about or a show. Is it a show or a movie? It's a movie, right?
I think it's a movie.
Yeah, it's a movie about generational, not sins, but sort of
you're falling into the cycle.
That's a
your
good enough
parents
premise.
Did.
Yeah, but it's not a simple premise. You have to spend some time to explain that to people, I think.
Oh, for sure. It seems like it's definitely, it's all interesting, but it seemed like it was focused on someone who, was raised to like, don't be like your dad, don't be on Westworld. And then, he grew up to be like his dad, and then he goes to jail and he has his own kid, and there's probably going to be anxiety of, raising your kid to not make the same mistakes as you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it's about the idea that we don't think about these things until there's a kid in our lives. Yeah. That we stay irresponsible and young and dumb and we say, I won't make those mistakes, I'm different. And then you see a kid and you're like, well, I should fucking change. And at that point it might feel too late because it's the cycle starting all over again. And I imagine that's a big part of the movie. I just don't know what else they're not showing us then.
I mean, I'm assuming
that's in this trailer.
It's about whether or not the person grows.
Mm-hmm.
That is the emotional substance of movies. Do they grow or do they not?
Mm-hmm. It could be about something different. The trailer giving away so much doesn't change whether or not I'll see it. I want to see it, but it does feel like the trailer, it's that like lack of confidence of a trailer where they're like, well, we have to tell you everything. And now I feel like I know the movie already, but I could be wrong. I'm often wrong.
That's true.
Yeah.
You are. He is.
Often. He often is.
Very often.
I do hope it has a few twists and turns. Or a few new insights.
Yeah, or does it need it? Is it just to watch these performances and these people do a very good job? It could also be that.
I don't want to say it needs it, but I think the movie would be better if it had it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely, I don't know. I am still curious about it. It's just a trailer gripe.
I'll watch it. This is a movie. So far, out of all the movies and things we've seen, I'm more likely to engage with this than anything else we've talked about so far.
I mean, the whole list of trailers, I think this is the one that I want to see the most.
Yes, I agree with that.
Also, I have the opposite criticism for the next trailer. If you guys are ready to talk about that.
Yes, I
am ready.
White Lines. This, I don't know what this is about besides cocaine.
Right. It's about some woman trying to solve her brother's disappearance, and he vanished 20 years ago, and it's like unraveling the kind of shit that he was involved in, and it looks like it's a lot of crime and drug running and stuff like that.
I'm going to tell you...
Real incoherent trailer.
I don't think it's incoherent. Yeah. I think this is like a very cynical trailer where it's like, look, we're not going to give you the substance that hooks you into a movie. We're just going to show you sort of style and and we're going to flash through tropes like nudity and
it's going to have sex and drugs.
That was
and
more
violence.
what I meant than incoherent. There wasn't anything like it didn't tell me why I needed. It doesn't tell you what the story is. Or like, why do I need to watch this? Like,
right. And cynical is a good word for it because it's like, do you think I'm fucking stupid? White Lines, like. Yeah, I see all the pretty lights and the drugs and the boobs, but like, what is your show or movie about? Is it a show or a movie?
It's a show.
It's a show?
Yeah,
it doesn't need to be. To me, it doesn't look like it needs to be.
I don't know. Maybe it's great. I don't fucking know.
The brother reappears, by the way, and I say that because it was like the second line in the synopsis.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's part of what makes her investigate. So, yeah, I don't feel bad saying that because it feels like that probably happens very early in this movie.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
But also, that's the fact that's like, that would have made me watch this. You know what I mean? Like, that's a more interesting. At least it had a better shot.
Right.
You know, this fits into. I've started to, like, as I've done this show with you guys a few times, and also just, you know, from a lifetime consuming trailers. There's like a few different ways to do a cynical trailer. And this is like one of them where it's like, I'm going to show you all the like things that make you go to movies, right? Like drugs and sex and blow-ups and and not give you any substance. That's like one way to do a cynical trailer. And like spoilers, the next fucking trailer is also cynical.
Yeah.
But it's like indie cynical. And in that category, I would include having a Belle and Sebastian song. That's like the first fucking thing.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, I don't want to get ahead of myself.
Well, yeah, real quick, this is the writer of Money Heist, which is pretty popular right now. I haven't watched it, and I've heard it's good. So I'm wondering if they're banking on that. Like, for example, I remember watching the trailer for The Fountain, and the only name I needed to see was Darren Aronofsky, and then a whole bunch of bullshit. And I was like, no, I'll watch this. It looks crazy. I don't know what the fuck I'm seeing. It's Darren Aronofsky. That's great. I'm in. So maybe it's kind of the same thing as if you're into Money Heist and you see that name and you see all these flashes of stuff, you get a tone that's specific to that creator that you're like, oh, yeah, of course I'll watch this.
No, he is not Darren Aronofsky.
Yes, I'm aware.
No, I'm not saying that to you. I'm saying that I believe that the trailer also believes that. Okay. So I'm not arguing with you. I think the trailer believes that. And I'm saying, no, this is not a generational filmmaker. From what I can tell.
I don't know anything about... Again, I haven't seen Money Heist, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, it's criminal not to have the song White Lines in this trailer.
By Duran Duran?
No, the hip-hop song.
I thought isn't there a Duran Duran song?
There might be.
Hold on, I'm Googling this.
The late 80s hip-hop song?
Song by Duran Duran. It's the Duran Duran song.
I don't think that's the one I'm talking about. Like it's the hip hop song, right?
All right, I'm seeing also Grandmaster Flash.
That's the one. There it is. That's it, Dave.
But I'm also seeing Duran Duran.
Yep.
It's my
two warring voices for our attention.
I'm glad we've hit this impasse.
We're really always sort of vacillating between the Grandmaster Flashes and Duran in our lives.
It's the great debate.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, they should have had at least one of those two songs in it. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a real missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Real oversight.
Let's talk about this indie film. Days of Bagnold Summer. Days of the Bagnold Summer.
Yep.
That's such an indie film name.
Yeah. I can't even begin to guess what the hell it means.
It's like another, it's I assume a city or town or something.
It's all British.
I am instantly furious at this movie. Like, come on, man. Like, give me anything about why.
I love this shit.
No, I know that, but that's why it's so cynical. You just explained why it's cynical right there. It's like,
I love anything
you
with
love
a sweet
shit.
lady.
You love it, right? I'm gonna.
I love them. The Philomenas.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Right, but it's not being
Fuck
done
me
by
up,
Coogan.
Philomena.
But it's not being done by Steve
No,
Coogan, bro.
but Rob Brydon is in it, so
fine. But like again, this is a template. It's Belle and Sebastian plus two unlikely people plus weird quirky place equals heartwarming indie film.
Throw an accent on there, and I'm in.
Yeah, right. And like, okay, Dave, that's fine. You're gonna break the curve for all of us, so that these things keep happening. But like, I feel strongly as a person who wants to make movies and has made movies for money in the past, that like our job as filmmakers is to sell you on the compelling emotional core of the movie, even in the trailer. And this is a substitution for that. That's what bothers me about it. It's like, no, the heart of this movie is not in the trailer, or if it is, it's not much of a heart of the movie, right?
She's got like a metalhead son, and they find love.
They don't find love,
and they butt heads, her and her metalhead son, and like his teacher's into her, and then he meets a girl.
He meets a swell.
It's a summer
girl.
Yeah, it's summer you never forget.
Yep.
Every day of it burned into your memory. Like, let me attack this from a different vantage. Imagine I made a trailer and it was about an action movie, and it's like, okay, we're going to talk about, and I just hit the tropes. Guy's stuck in a place, villain comes in and locks it down. Guy has to find a way against all odds to take them all down. And I just went and showed you just those tropes and like, put an appropriate action song under it. And like, then, called it whatever the fuck, Cop Tough or whatever I called it. Okay.
Cop Tough.
Yeah. Cop Tough.
I like Cop
Coming
Tough.
out in 2023, baby.
Yep.
You would call that a cynical trailer, right? Because it's like, no, why this guy? Why this story? But we don't expect that of indie dramas. That's weird to me.
No, I agree. The indie drama, I think this is happening with indie horror as well. Is there's too many of the ones that are like, we're the witch too, and it's like
right, we're also the witch. Yeah, exactly.
But and then I think of like the ultimate Garden State of the indie drama, where it was like, oh, you went too far. You went too far.
But at least that movie,
it's a thing.
At least that movie also marketed itself for what it is. Like, at least the Garden State trailer is authentically awful. You know what I mean? Like, because it's exactly what it is. It's like pretentious twee fucking like teenage angst with a cool soundtrack. Well, that's what it was. That's what the movie was.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I'm being terrible.
That's pretty much what it was.
It's like, yeah. Oh no, Garden State's trash. What a trash movie.
It made me hate the Shins just for being in it. It was like, no, I can't have you now.
That movie, it was a big peek into the soul of Zach Braff.
Who's he's doing a podcast where he watches Scrubs now, by the way.
Good for
him. And Donald
Faison, yeah.
Yeah, they're real.
I'm going to go ahead and say I don't think Scrubs is that good.
It hasn't aged well, that's for sure.
No, yeah. That's true.
I remember enjoying it all right, and then it's sort of...
Mm-hmm. There's some real cringeworthy moments.
For sure.
Yeah, it's also just full of tropes and like... I don't know, man.
It's a little bit more disposable than other wacky single camera sitcoms of the same era.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. But, you can't substitute for, just stuff like Eagle, you know what I mean? And him and Donald Faison, like, just constantly hugging and shit. I love it. I love that. Mm-hmm. Come on. Come on, Dave.
Yeah.
Don't take that away from me.
Well, the way you love that, I love watching like an old, hopefully British lady find love and new meaning to her life while struggling with like, oh, young people, and like saying maybe like weird sexual things that makes the young people like uncomfortable, but then it's kind of sad at a part. There's like an emotional sequence.
I just realized another thing about this that made my eyebrows go up. It's that the kid is goth in a way that's like, are people still doing that?
He's not goth. He's like Norwegian metal.
It takes place in England, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can like Norwegian metal anywhere.
Right.
I don't know if it's specific Norwegian. It just has that heavy metal, like that real metal-y Norwegian look to what he's got the long black hair. He's got the weird metal logos.
Right. He's drawing like Anthrax-esque fonts all over his wall.
Yeah,
I got
love
it.
that shit still.
Yeah, right. So that hasn't mutated or evolved at all. It still looks the same way it was in like 1995.
I think kind of.
Okay.
I think, all right, this is a different conversation, but I think with music, right, like there's still people who dress like British punks from the 70s.
Right.
Maybe not as many, but like there's probably still a motherfucker out there rocking disco stuff, you know?
Oh, yeah. All of Europe's doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, you know, I think nothing really dies. I don't know if it's supposed, because the someone asked him, "Are you goth in it?" So like, maybe that's really part of it, that he's sort of part of an aesthetic that's a little older, that isn't around as much anymore. I don't know.
It just made me. Okay, I guess maybe I'm just sort of judgmental. It just made me look at it and go like, is there going to be anything in this that isn't sort of pieces of 100 movies just like it? Like, is there anything about it that's unique to it from what you can see?
I get what you're saying. I literally had this same problem with Extraction, which is that it's not a bad movie. It just felt like I had seen everything in other things. I get that. With an indie film, like, you know, sometimes they just feel very cookie cutter.
Well,
because especially when it's like romance and like, I get it.
These indie films do, but let's not forget that like.
These like indie romantic comedy,
indie family dramas and romantic comedies have a vibe to them. But like, let's not forget that the most interesting and creative films that are being made are indies. We just don't always see them. Yeah,
for sure.
You know. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, Cop Tough coming out in 2023.
Cop Tough. Look, keep your eyes open to Cop Tough.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah.
All right, well, we have news stories, but first we have to talk about some more producers.
Yeah, why don't you tell us some of them?
Sure. Producers like Davey Francis. Davey Fran, thank you to you. So also thank you to Chancy Pants.
Chance in the Pants.
You're wonderful. And also Space McNulty. These are all great folks that thank you to. That I say thank you to. Also Captain Fatstrong.
Always Captain Fatstrong.
Always Captain Fatstrong. That should be a cereal.
Honestly, it should be. I would trust Captain Fatstrong with my child nutrition.
At least half of them are marshmallows.
Oh, yeah.
At least half of that cereal is marshmallows.
The other half is meat.
Oh,
yes. It's just ground up hamburger.
Yep.
Thank you to Hiram. Thank you to
Hiram.
Oh Great It's That Guy.
That guy.
Thanks to Lef.
Thank you, Lef.
Thanks to Bob Grenville.
Bobby Grattan.
And Adam, why don't you take the rest of them?
Oh, yeah. This is a beautiful and familiar lot. Bart Fardigan.
Thanks.
Nolan Martin. Thanks. Joshua Graves.
Jay Graves.
Thank you. Andrew McGuire, you normal man. I love you. I fucking love you.
Yeah.
You're beautiful.
So, what's this with movie theaters and Universal?
Okay. So what happened is this was wild. This was like watching the Kardashians fight on Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Universal came out and said that their digital release of Trolls World Tour was more successful than they had anticipated, or rather that it was just like a great overall success.
And that they were,
God, and that they were going to be releasing. They were going to explore. He either said explore or they were going to continue to release their movies on digital at the same time as they're in the theater, which violates the agreements that they have with theater chains.
Yeah, they can't just do that.
No,
right?
No. So AMC came out fucking real hot right out of the gate. Like, we're not going to show any Universal movies.
Yeah, they weren't the only theater.
Regal followed suit, and then I think there's another one that's also followed suit.
They kind of have to do that, right? They kind of have to be like, all right, well, then we won't. And the problem is Universal might just go, all right, then, fine. When I saw the Trolls World Tour trailer, I thought to myself, this is going to destroy cinema as we know.
This is the movie that was the rock that brought the avalanche. Yep. Trolls World Tour.
Yep, I knew it was gonna. I knew this was gonna. I just saw apocalyptic visions during that trailer.
God!
And next, Universal's gonna be like, "Well, guess what, motherfuckers? We have nukes," and it's just gonna keep going from there, and the world's gonna end.
I mean, it's this is definitely like this is a multi-billion-dollar game of chicken. Like they're gonna work this out, but like it's kind of like I've seen arguments for sort of like both ways you can look at this. One way is to look at it like, wow, AMC is really shooting itself in the foot because Universal has Fast and the Furious. It's got Jurassic World. Those are both billion-dollar global franchises.
Right.
The upcoming Halloween sequels, Halloween did huge numbers for them. So it's like there's one way to look at it where it's like, wow, you're being very foolish to cut this studio out. But the other side of that is that AMC owns the most theaters in the world.
Right.
They're the biggest.
AMC owns about 1/6 of the theaters.
It's two monsters fighting. There's a man.
But this is like again, man. Like we're living in epic times.
Yeah.
Because, like
I said,
this is the fight we knew was coming. We've been saying it for 15 years. Like, pretty soon, it's only going to be action movies in the theater. You know what I mean? Like, we've been saying it for how long? This is the beginning of that right here. This is it.
That's the thing. This is actually not the beginning of it. It's just there was a meme I would like to quote at this time. And by quote, I mean describe in a terrible way that's probably inaccurate.
Great.
But it was a picture of people in an office talking about how, like, oh, yeah, we got a few years for the switch to digital to happen. We're good. And then outside, a big wrecking ball is coming towards them labeled coronavirus. And that's what it is that everybody was like, no, we'll slowly transition. We'll figure it out. And it's like, no, you should have been doing this years ago. It was already happening. The moment we were pirating things on the internet, you should have thought about this. Yes. That's why fucking Netflix, like, it was so obvious when Netflix came around. It was like, yeah, fucking of course. Keep figuring that out. And there's this old way mentality, and it's definitely a boomer thing, I think, is that a lot of older people still in these studios are like, no, this is the way we do things. And it's like, guess what? That's not the way people are consuming things anymore.
I think it's a little
You have to figure this out before you fall apart.
It's a little bit success blindness also. Like, yes, it might be boomers, but like it's the same kind of problem that Facebook has right now. Or like, you know, just anybody that's so successful that they have been able to say this is how the landscape works.
Right. It's the reason why they put out Star Wars that was written like a book report that was written on the school bus.
Yeah.
Like, they're just like, nah, we got this.
Right.
And it's like, you have to fucking work.
Not forever.
You have to do the work.
Yeah. Somebody's going to beat this because it's not good. If it was good, then you could afford to bully everybody. But like, you know.
Right. But they're like, yeah, we make all the money. What's going to happen?
Yes. Star Wars will never die. You know, it's been around since a long, long time ago.
Yeah.
That is the belief of like the Republican Party, of clearly AMC. Like it's just like so many people have this. We're never gonna die. And it's like, no, dude, you're gonna like you will go the way of the dinosaur, my friend, as they all do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said this on the Even More News podcast, but I want to say it again. Is that the coronavirus is like the Avengers Endgame of America, where like all the problems are all coming.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, that problem. There's racism in the back. Yeah, there's there's capitalism right there falling apart. It's that like all the problems have like shown themselves from this one pandemic, and one of the big ones that we're seeing is how the entertainment industry has worked. Because all it took was one little push, and it all fell fucking apart.
Not one little push. It took one little push that they couldn't change.
Yes.
But this is also, again, it's been slow erosion for a period of decades. Just like, I don't want to get on my big rant about this, but just like, our current state of politics is the same. Like it's a result of the erosion of bad decisions and bad media. And I'm going to leave it vague, I guess, like that, for decades have left people in sort of siloed information cultures. And now we have several massive problems because of that. And it's the same thing. We all like, it's an obvious thing when you look at it. It's like, well, of course it's going to end up here. We just never thought we would live to see it.
Right.
I'll be dead then. So sure. Who gives a fuck? Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, all it took was one virus manufactured in a lab owned by Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Look it up, guys. Look it up.
Man, I'm seeing people who I've known for years and years spreading things about the coronavirus that just really blow my mind.
Oh, yeah. The internet's great.
It's we live in weird times.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Never thought I'd see it.
But yeah, this is, I don't know what the fuck's going to happen here. Who can say?
They're going to back.
We'll
they're
still
gonna
have
back down.
movies
Because AMC one.
Yeah.
This is like the death of the old order entirely. If nobody does,
what's going to happen is, actually, I fucking don't know, because there's the idea that just the movies that are going to go to theaters are going to be big ass movies.
Yeah.
And then everything else will go to streaming. But I don't know if that's the case, because theaters can't really survive on a handful of movies.
No.
They got to play like Annabelle 4 or whatever. Even though nobody needs to see that. They need that like handful of people buying popcorn to go see that depressing movie that I don't even know exists or not.
Theaters are rock hard for Days of Bagnalled Summer. They are rock hard for
that.
They
100%.
can't wait to throw that shit up on 5,000 screens.
And forget about fucking indie films are a lost cause. They're getting chewed up by the zombies like 10 yards away, and we're like, leave them behind. Because it's like, how do we even save indie theaters at this point? They have to be around as almost a novelty.
I hear you, and yet
we have to want to. It's a real bummer, because I love theaters. I love indie theaters. And I'm scared for all of this.
But
I get that streaming does. I don't know. I've also said streaming is clearly the future. It's just, I want both.
I have a little bit of a Jurassic Park vibe about indie films in this way, and that I believe fundamentally that life will find a way when it comes to this issue.
You chop up a bunch of frogs and you smush them in with the indies.
Just because the money doesn't work doesn't mean it's going to disappear forever. It's the same thing as like there will be again paid content creators making comedy sketches that don't work for a major network or for fucking Google or whatever. Like that stuff's going to exist again. We just haven't figured out how to do it, but people want it. Therefore, it will exist.
Yeah, I hope you're right.
People,
maybe when we're all in a sick VR world,
people want to see. People
we're all
want
in
to
our
see
avatars.
It could be, could be.
Let's talk about this next story. That's just great news, guys. Now You See Me 3 is in development. They're saying it's a reboot. They're saying they're doing different characters.
Yeah, there's going to be new characters,
which makes sense, because how could they afford these people How could they afford them for a sequel? How could they make one of these?
I forgot this was even a thing.
These are... I don't even like these in terms of hate watching. They're just bad movies.
They are extremely bad movies, yeah.
They're so weird and childish and embarrassing. I don't understand why they exist. I guess maybe international audiences love this because there's a lot of famous people in it. Like, I'll never say no to seeing Woody Harrelson perform close-up magic.
No, why would you ever?
Yeah. But generally speaking, these movies are big wet fart. So, like,
But they're
I don't
making
know.
a third one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the proper way to reboot it is to just not do it. That's your reboot idea. Don't do it.
I mean, it must be pretty bad if you're not even on board for it at all.
They're very
Yeah.
they're very tough. It's tough, but it's the Top Gun Maverick writer.
I mean, okay, let me watch the movie before I care about that.
Yeah.
Because so far it's not going the way old AG thought it was when I read Top Gun, when I saw the trailer for that movie.
Right.
It was like, oh, Maverick never, ever in his whole life made any advancement. he just stayed fucking captain. Okay, fine.
Mm-hmm.
Briefly, when I read this article, I found it a staggering omission that they listed all the stars of this movie: Jesse Eisenberg, Woody Harrelson, Isla Fisher, Dave Franco, and Morgan Freeman. And there in the picture is Lizzie Kaplan, just not even mentioned. And I'm like, oh, is there politics to that? Is she just like persona non grata to this movie franchise?
I think
she's the one that
replaced-
they unceremoniously replaced Isla Fisher with in part 2. Like, they
Yeah,
just don't
they
even
replaced
mention Isla Fisher's character.
The actress. Yeah. Yes. That's how bad these are. Is they replaced like the female lead and was just like, they won't tell the difference. Like, it seemed like they were just like, we'll just have another chick in there. We need one chick. Yeah, and they're just very bad.
Jeez.
I think the only thing you can enjoy about it is Daniel Radcliffe just not giving a fuck.
Not giving a
in the sequel.
fucking blue shit that he's in a Now You See Me movie.
Just Daniel Radcliffe buying a house.
I think he's buying another house.
I was about to say buying another house.
I think it's time that we took a moment and acknowledged Daniel Radcliffe has been kicking a lot of ass since Harry Potter.
He's great.
Yeah, he's great.
He's been kicking
It's just like-
a lot of ass.
It's like he's just picking the weirdest. It's like, what's the weirdest thing you got? All right, I want to do that.
I'll be a farting corpse for an entire movie.
Yeah.
I'll do it. Who says I won't? You know what he's doing?
He's
carving a new. He's like a 2.0 version of Elijah Wood. He's just like, I'm showing you how this shit is done.
Radcliffe, he gives me vibes of the kind of guy you'd want to hang out with because he's Daniel Radcliffe, and then after a few hours, you'd really not want to hang out with. Like, not in a bad way that he's an asshole, more in a way of like, Jesus, man, I don't want to. I got to go home. This is exhausting.
Like over partier. He's an over partier.
Yeah, he's he really like. I feel like he's like he's like the kind of guy who's gonna go swimming in a reservoir at 3 a.m, and you're like, Jesus Christ, dude! It's great. You're Harry Potter. I want to hang out, but like I got shit in the morning.
Right.
I didn't think this was gonna be a whole adventure.
Yeah, he's a guy who like skinny dipping's never off the menu for him. Like that's always on the menu,
no matter the time of day,
Yeah.
or if there's a body of water nearby.
Yeah.
Right. I'm basing this off of nothing.
Right.
But that's just my Have you guys watched Come to Daddy yet? Speaking of
Elijah Wood. No,
Wood.
not yet.
I have not. No, I have not.
You guys should watch Come to Daddy. I want to talk about that movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perhaps
we will.
Everybody listening, do it.
Yeah, I'll try to get that in my head. I'll try to get that past my head.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. So yeah, Now You See Me 3, guys.
Yeah.
Exciting stuff. Also exciting. The Russo brothers are producing a live-action version of Disney's Hercules.
Oh my God, Tom.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Tom.
This is in the very, very, very early stages. Like they don't even have a director or writers attached yet.
I saw the list of directors, and they listed just every director.
Right. They listed
They're like
everybody.
possible directors, and it's like, you mean someone listened in on a producer brainstorm where they were just throwing out names.
Exactly. Yeah. This is based on like nothing.
Yeah, this was first on like comicbooknews.web. Like that's when I first saw it, and it didn't seem like credible, and now it's on Variety.
People are real desperate for news right now. We at Collider, we didn't do this story purposefully because there's like nothing.
Really? Because
there's nothing to it. It's just
good on you.
And like going forward, it's like they are going to make live action versions of every single one of their animated movies.
Yeah. Well, at least they're doing Hercules because we haven't seen one of those yet.
This one is a baffling choice to make into a live action movie, in this old bear's opinion. Are you ready for it? Yeah. I'll tell you why, Dave.
I'm ready for this blazing take.
I'm going to tell you why.
Drop it in.
Hadouken that hot take right into my face.
I do not believe this one will go the distance, unquote, my friend. I do not believe that. Here's why. Watch that movie again. It is all 90s sports and like church choir aesthetic. There is so much like culture appropriation in it, or at least it's uncomfortable to watch it and think about them trying to do exactly the same movie live action the way they have. Like they'd have to dramatically change what this is, I think. Like it can no longer.
They probably will.
Well, right, and so then it's like, well, okay, so you just want to do another Hercules, but and live action, and I don't that part I don't care. Great, by all means, Hercules is a fine story. I don't hate it.
We've done it so many times, though. They have to do something that makes it Disney, right?
The problem is
the point of this one is a musical comedy version of it. But anyway,
the whole point of this project as a thing in cinema is to give us updates on properties that they believe will perform well. That's what this is about. It's not. Yeah. This is not a love note to movies. This is. Look, kids will watch it again.
Starting,
you know,
yeah.
What are movies that adults right now grew up watching?
Right, and their kids would also watch.
This is Disney pulling from a list.
Yeah. Right, yeah, I agree.
And that was the issue we've had with these all along, where they're like, yeah, let's make Lion King, and then someone's probably asked like, so why are we doing that? And it's like, it's not my job, man. You make the director figure out why we're doing that. I'm just saying we have to do it. Like they start from let's make the movie, and then they have to figure out why
what the movie is and why.
A cursory watch of this story, as it existed in 1997, will tell you it has to be dramatically rethought to work in this culture now. Like I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but if you're gonna do that, why don't we go back and redo like Sleeping Beauty? Or Snow White or something. I mean,
you're saying that like we're not going to do it. But I know Bambi's up on the slab soon.
So is Pinocchio.
Right.
Yeah, don't you want to see a deer get shot in live action?
I'm not going to say no to that, Dave, which I know.
Yeah.
But wait a minute. Those are things where they have the license to do a remake the way they need to do it, and it will work, and it will have some authenticity as a piece of film. Right, like I'm not so worried about them remaking Sleeping Beauty because that's a timeless tale. Technically, the first one was a remake of a folk story. You know what I mean? So like,
right,
I don't hate that, and I think because they're going to have to reinterpret it for it to work, I'm fine with that. Hercules needs to be reinterpreted because, it doesn't work as it is. At least as I remember it, it doesn't work as it is to tell it in 2020, and like it didn't even really do that well in the box office. And I just don't know why this movie, of all the things they could do.
Because it was on the pile and someone reached over and grabbed probably a poker chip that had Disney titles written on it that some producer just reaches over every now and then and they grab it off the pile and they glance at it and they say, do this, and they throw the chip at an intern.
I get it. I understand what you're describing really is how. And I'm saying, and you're saying there is no why, and I'm saying, but there should be a why, and there's a common sense why.
I agree with you.
Like Oliver and Company, maybe that one didn't perform so great, but that's an easy thing to reboot, and kids would love it.
If they're going to do Hercules, I want to see a sequel to Hercules in New York. Fuck it. Starring Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah,
Bring Arnold
get him
Schwarzenegger
in there, but
back.
you have to make him fuck up his lines.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah,
I'm
these fine.
Give him a concussion right before every shot.
I'm holding out hope that I get my Black Cauldron reboot because that's what I'm really waiting for. Terran and the Black
they are
Cauldron.
never going to do that.
This is
Why
part
would
of
they?
the Disney problem, is that, and this is problem with the studios in general, is that when it comes to reboots, they just do what's popular because they know that'll make it's all about getting them to watch a movie in that first week.
Yeah.
Because they're like, hey, I know. And I don't think that Star Wars is proving. I wish people would I wish when a Star Wars comes out, I wish audiences would be like, I'm not going to automatically see that. I need to know it's good.
That's where I am
because
with them.
Yeah, that's where most people should be at this point. And I feel like it needs to be that with the Disney stuff. I think people are getting wise to it, where it's like, just because it's a thing I knew doesn't mean they're going to do it with any amount of care.
Right.
And it's very cynical. And that's the problem with the reboot system, is that, like, shouldn't we be rebooting or remaking things that didn't work the first time? Isn't that the point of doing something over again?
Or again, something that you have the freedom to do, to make it away with real passion, you know?
Or yeah, if I do a killer backflip, which I'm fully capable
I've seen
of.
you.
Right, no, I've seen you do
I've
it.
seen
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, if I do a killer backflip, the next thing I'm going to do isn't another attempt at a
Which
backflip.
I've tried.
I
to
did
get you
it.
to do.
Yeah, no, you do that shit
Yeah.
once. It's just, yeah. What's the point of this? Of any of this? Why are we
the point
here?
of the first one, Dave.
The point of it is to make $1 billion.
Right. And the
Yeah.
point of your backflip is to see you gleefully glittering in the air like the magnificent creature you are.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
I can only repeat my point so many times, so I'm just going to move on from this. Other than to say, there are some movies that I will watch when they reboot them in this catalog. Like
I think Mulan's a good
I agree.
idea.
That's the
They're
best.
doing Mulan in a
that's
good
the
way.
best one so far I've heard.
Right,
And
because they're
Yeah.
telling it differently and they're changing the focus of it somewhat.
because they have
in
to.
a way that matters.
They have to.
Yeah, in a way where you're like, oh yeah, that is, a retelling of a story in an interesting way. Like I haven't seen Wendy yet, but I really want to, because that was like, oh, we're retelling Peter Pan, but we're focusing on Wendy, who is arguably the protagonist of that story, should
not
be.
arguably she is.
Yeah, she is.
absolutely
Yeah.
is.
And it's like, oh yeah, that is a smart thing to do. Or like, fuck it, I haven't seen it, but what if Sherlock Holmes was old? Sure, I'm
That's
in, man.
actually an interesting idea.
That's a thing.
Yeah,
That-
Mr. Holmes. With,
Yeah,
with,
that's what I
Ian-
mean. I
Ian
haven't
McKellen.
seen it.
Ian McKellen.
I haven't
Right.
seen it, but like things like that where it's like, fuck it, let's do a different perspective. And it's like, well, that's at least something.
Yeah, we get more. We get to enjoy in a different way the thing we already love, which is the point of having
Yeah.
franchises.
Yeah, it might not work, but it's
But and also
something.
nobody when you try something and fail, even like in a movie sense, that does not diminish the franchise. It's when you make like duplicates of the franchise that diminish in quality, where the whole franchise begins to suffer. Like that's the
Right.
cardinal sin of sequels
Again,
and reboots.
if I did a backflip and it was sweet,
yeah,
and I
The
wanted
sweet
to
meat.
follow it up,
Sweet meat.
I wouldn't just do the same backflip. I would say, now here's me doing a backflip while lighting a cigar.
Sure.
Oh my god!
And then you get to see
Stop
that.
teasing us.
It's something.
Stop teasing us.
Yeah.
Briefly, Tom, because I know you want to move on. Briefly, the reason I wanted the Disney musicals are the only ones that work on me, and I do think it's kids. It's because I was a nostalgia,
Yeah.
But also, I have to say, I was 17 when Hercules came out, and that song, "Going the Distance," still makes me emotional.
Yeah.
Same with the Mulan song, "To Be a Man," and it's one of those rare times where I have a little bit of insight into the power of media, because Disney is really good at sort of writing these songs that capture the heart of people and their point of view, and those two songs captured something that was core and old agey. And so I fucking love them. You know what I mean? I still love them, and they still work. So
I watched Pocahontas a couple years ago.
That's a pretty bad one, actually.
Yes. Well, I'm using it as an example because it's not a good Disney movie, and I found myself shedding tears during a song, and it was like, what the
Which
fuck?
song?
This isn't worth. I don't even remember. It didn't matter. Disney is just, They have like the tap into your emotions with that bullshit, and they can just prod at it, and it's like, fuck you. But I mean, you're clearly doing something right. And again, Pocahontas, a movie that probably shouldn't have been made. Frankly,
I mean,
oh no, that was a real oof.
Historically, artistically, a lot of problems. Casting, a lot of problems there in Pocahontas.
I don't think I've seen it since it was in the theaters again.
But the biggest shock is that the scrappy first mate is fucking Christian Bale.
Oh my God,
he's just in all your joyful things, isn't he?
Of course he is.
He's just like
it's Newsies and
he's
Pocahontas.
like perched right in your heart. There, he's got like a belfry in your heart. He's perched in there.
Yeah,
hell yeah, he does.
Anyway, so Disney is the only musicals in general that rule, and this old bear gives him one paw up for that. You know?
Sweet. That's a good bear. Good old bear.
One paw up.
One paw goes up for that.
Let's talk about some more Hypecast producers, and I want you, Adam, to start this list.
Well, there are things on here that offend me. I'm not gonna lie to you. But I'm gonna start. First of all, the loudest and greatest, Ozzy. Thank you,
Ozzy.
Thank you.
Ozzy.
Double
Then
Z's in the
Tom,
name, killing it.
Quasi dangerous levels of hype. K.
So like right on the edge.
right on the edge, and also, but also respectful enough to inform us, so we know don't push too far, don't push too hard. AJ, and then
Edge,
and then comes Sweetmeat.
Sweetmeat.
Now,
Sweetmeat requested to be next to the next name.
Sweetmeat. I just need you to know that's not your name, because Sweetmeat is Dave. Dave, you're branded with Sweetmeat the rest of your life.
I own Sweetmeat.
So just know, mysterious patron whose production we love, that you are sharing this name with one Sweetmeat Dave. But right next to Sweetmeat, Tip Drizzle.
Tip Drizzle.
And now I'll turn it over to someone else.
All right, I'll take it over. Frankly Amish.
Woohoo!
Thank you.
That's a good name.
Thank you. Frankly, yeah, it is. So is Mrs. Voitis.
I like that one too.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
The ghost of Dave Thomas, obviously.
Flipping burgers in the afterlife.
Always in my heart. Aaron Burr, sir. You're right there,
God,
man.
He's beautiful.
You're right there.
Look at him. He's majestic.
You're watching over us. Yeah.
Like a falcon.
David. Yeah. David Knife Boot.
Knife boot. Knife
Henson, MBA, CBA.
Love this guy.
Yeah. Tom,
Christopher
you
Robert
finish us off.
Sparks, Esquire.
Take us home.
That's the old Topher
Toby.
Bobby.
Topher
Mackenzie,
Bobby.
Righteous Hand of the Lizard People, chill.
Yeah.
Thank you to
It's got
Funky
chill in
J.
there.
Yeah.
Funky J.
And last but not least, thank you to Pie Guy.
Yeah.
Hi, guy. Thank you.
Thank you, all you lovely producers.
You guys are all
You're all delicious.
beautiful, and some of you are also the second of the Sweetmeat.
Also, heads up, we know where you all live because that's required with this producer tier, and we're gonna be sending you a little gift soon enough. We were gonna send it mid-April, and then I don't know, a pandemic happened, so fucking what of it.
Yeah.
But we'll send you it. We're gonna touch everything.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna really smear our DNA on these letters that we will be sending
They're
you
asking
all.
for teeth, right?
Pretty soon.
They're asking for teeth.
Probably.
Yeah,
And
I'm
I
sure
got
they
a
want
bunch of
teeth,
teeth.
yeah.
Do they want my teeth or like just
Whichever
any
ones
old
you got
teeth?
laying around. Whatever in your
Okay.
spare tooth drawer.
Sometimes I like to take my kitty, and my kitty will like look at me. She'll like stare right at me, and I'll push her little face up, so her little teeth,
little kitty
her
face?
her little lion teeth
Her
come
little
out, and they're all
kitty face?
sharp. And I'll make her make a little growl face, and I'll go, "Rah, you're a little tiger."
I legit thought you were going to tell that she looked at you and then just coughed up a tooth and you couldn't figure out where it came from.
No, she's just got little lion teeth. Isn't that something?
It is. Definitely.
That's really something, Dave.
Yep.
It's really something.
Yeah.
She's a real...
Wasn't that worth your
she's-
time to hear?
She is
Son of a bitch.
riveting listening. Thank you, Dave.
Little lion teeth.
Sweetmeat, carry us home, Sweetmeat.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Dave.
Yes, Tom.
Dave.
I'm not sure what you're going to ask, but you go on.
Dave, do you happen
What?
in these dark times, do you happen to have a movie that deserves more hype?
Oh man, I do.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I really do. This is so last week, I think it was last week. Time. Mm-hmm. I did a documentary. This week, also a documentary. This one is called "The Painter and the Thief." Its release date is May 22nd. I imagine on streaming.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm almost certain.
It's Netflix, isn't it?
It's it's hitting 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm surprised there's not more hype about this, which is convenient for the premise of this section. It's about a painter who made what she considered her masterpiece, and it was stolen from the window of her first solo show. Mm-hmm. Two pieces of art, and the art thieves were caught and went to jail. And when one of them came out of jail, she wanted to do his portrait. And it's about this artist, this woman who develops a relationship with an art thief who stole her art. And it's very emotional, and it feels like an indie film. Like, it feels like something that would be made up, and it's a documentary.
This looks utterly spectacular. Like,
doesn't it?
I was
it
like,
looks really
holy shit, this movie looks amazing.
Yeah, it's got, again, 100%, like, across the board, everybody's saying it's fucking amazing. What it doesn't outline is, like, it doesn't go into the crime that much, because it's not about that. It's not about did he do it, or it's not about, like, is he going, because the way this Variety puts it is how like both addicts and artists are paradoxical and counterintuitive. And so it's that idea of, like, she never really gets, it's like, why do we do things? Why do we make art? Why do we steal art? It's all in the same part of the brain that we can't quite figure out, and it explores that idea, and that sounds fucking fantastic.
You watch a thing like this and you think to yourself, like, how many other documentaries are being made every day that where they start out with something very stupid or very mundane as its subject and then blossom into something like this?
Yeah, because the filmmaker said they were just making a movie about, like, the art heist world or something.
Mm-hmm. Did you?
Yeah, and then it became this, and they're like, "Holy shit!"
Did you ever see Icarus? Did you ever see it, Tom? So
No.
Icarus starts out as a documentary about a guy who's like, "I want to become a cyclist," and then he starts on the word, and he's like very fit, and he becomes a cyclist, and then he finds out, like, no matter what I do, I can't crack the top 10%, and he finds out, oh, it's because they're all using steroids. So he starts using steroids, right, to become a cyclist. And the guy who administers his steroids happens to be the guy who doped the Russian fucking Olympic team illegally during the Olympics. And it's investigating that. This guy fell into that. And it's incredible. It's like, what?
Someone was like, I want to be a cyclist, and then, like, a year later,
like knows who he
I've
is.
uncovered a Russian conspiracy, and I'm afraid for my life.
This man has to flee to America because Putin is going to kill him. It's like, oh my god, like, I'm so grateful for these people who go out into the world and, like, have the ability somehow to make a movie about
just turn
this,
over
right?
rocks.
And, like, I'm sorry for those documentary filmmakers who end up just getting a person painting a thing, and that's all they get.
Right.
But thank you to this filmmaker. This looks so awesome. I'm so pumped on it. I really am.
Yeah. Yeah, this is goddamn.
It looks great.
Yeah, it's partially luck, but it's clearly someone who knew what the story was and how to tell it.
Yeah, that's true.
And yeah.
And
oh yeah, I think part of being a good documentary filmmaker, I imagine, is you're filming something and not to get tunnel vision.
You have to
just be like, wait, what's going on over there?
You have to follow all the threads, and then, like, there's a lot of, like, okay, so what is the story with what we shot? That happens a lot. But I don't think I don't think every documentary filmmaker strikes Tiger King gold. You know what I mean? Where it's like,
right?
This
no,
is
again, or the Jinx was another one where it ruined people on true crime because it's like people don't normally confess in their true crime
you
documentaries.
Don't get fucking Gollum on camera whispering his crimes all the time.
Yeah,
you know,
they must have been so. I can't imagine when they learned that happened. They're just like, oh, okay, well, our careers are all set.
Right.
Like,
well, we did it.
Holy shit.
Yeah. The burps. Burping. I remember like when that was a thing. Cody was obsessed with burping. He loved that shit. He was like so riveted by that fact.
Well, he was so fascinating. Who does that?
He had eyelids that looked like lizard eyelids. He was crazy.
Yeah.
He looked like Robert Durst looked like a person who was like, this is what happens with a lifetime of lies. Like it just drained him of his humanity.
Yeah.
Right. You're just a husk.
Yeah, he did. He did look like it. It's like, who knows what Trump would look like without like a 4-hour regiment of makeup and stuff or whatever it is that he does.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Every president, it just sucks the life out of them.
That's true. And he hasn't really changed in appearance.
Yeah, he was already a husk.
Truth. Remember that time, Tom, when it was still funny that I was able to do a Trump impression at the office?
Yeah, and now we just can't.
Now
bear
he can't even
it.
bear it. Yeah, there was a moment I remember it distinctly when I was doing it at the office, and everyone was like, "All right, man,
this is just a huge
that's
bummer
enough.
now."
Yeah, that's enough.
Yeah. If he had lost, you'd be killing it with that.
Oh yeah,
you'd be whipping it out all the time. We'd be like, "Can you believe when that happened?"
We would have forgotten. About it. We would have totally forgotten about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like
we don't forget now.
We'll never forget now.
Adam, we don't forget now.
It's seared into my memory like the one time I saw you do a backflip majestically.
Mm-hmm. While eating cigars. So The Painter and the Thief is my point here.
I mean,
check it out.
Yeah, and like also a perfect premise to get a little poetic. You know what I mean? Like thank you, because I do like poetic shit. I just don't want it to be pretentious drivel. And a documentary is kind of the right place to do it, you know?
Yeah, because you're not pulling it out of your ass.
Right.
You're looking at life and then you're reflecting on it as opposed to being like, can you believe the thing I wrote?
Right.
You know, like it's you can be pretentious because you've earned it in a way. You're being pretentious about something.
Or you're Yorgos.
I watched fucking... I know this needs to end. I watched Into the Inferno.
Ooh.
Werner Herzog just talking volcanoes.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, fuck yeah.
You love that.
He's talking about the how the fire draws you in and all that shit. Like a fucking maniac.
For every Werner Herzog, there's an Errol Morris, right? That's who I'm thinking of. Yeah, Errol Morris. Who made like the Blue Line, the Thin Blue Line, and like Pet Sematary and all this other stuff? Who's like so good at stating with almost no like narration or like sleight of hand exactly the same poetic kind of conclusion. He's so like invisibly good at making that kind of poetry land in you. Whereas Werner Herzog, it's sort of like a thick glaze, like a Van Gogh painting with all the paint oil on it.
Yeah, it's like honey. Delicious honey oozing on your eyes.
Whereas Errol Morris builds it into the sandwich, Dave. It's like he bakes it like a honey glaze into the bread.
That you rub into your eyes. Yeah.
Wow, we really did it today.
We did.
I think we did.
Yeah.
Do you want to do any other tangents? Anybody have a tangent?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay. Well, shit, Adam. Thank you for being on here.
Yeah.
Well, you guys know I love you.
You're
wonderful.
wonderful.
I love you. You know that.
Yeah. We love you.
You know, you guys have done backflips into my heart permanently.
Yeah.
Of course. What have you been up
Thank
to
you for
lately?
asking.
I hear you got a new podcast.
I now have 3 podcasts going on the Small Beans Network.
Holy shit.
I know it's a lot, but I'm grateful for the platform, and I enjoy doing all 3 of them. They are the One Upsmanship podcast with my dear friend Michael Swaim, in which we discuss video games. They are Director Piece Theater with my equally dear friend Abe Epperson, who goes by Abro Handsome. Don't call them anything else. And in that podcast, we discuss the high art of your favorite pop culture popcorn movies. And finally, and brand newly, I just launched a podcast with my buddy Maggie Mae Smith called "I'll Show You Mine If You Show Me Yours," about in which two friends they sort of share their pop culture. How do I say it? They share their pop culture reactions to a prompt. It's sort of like a media sharing, getting to know each other kind of podcast about friendship and love and all that stuff.
It's very delightful. It's a real feel good
thank
podcast.
You. Yeah, could you believe that I had heartwarming in me, Dave? Could you even believe it? I'm such a crusty old bear. You know, never washed
weird.
my fur, and then here comes Maggie, softening me up.
Yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow, but
it's a horse pill. It's a
really.
It's a real horse pill.
You need a jug of water to get that thing down.
We also have podcasts. People might know this. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. You can check out exclusive podcasts like Fox Mulder is a Maniac and Tom and Jeff Watch Batman on there. So look at that. Look at that, folks.
We also got a store at tpublic.com/store/gamefullyunemployed. We should be getting masks back in soon.
Yeah,
I
they
will
come and
buy
go.
the shit out of one of those.
Yeah, I don't know the morality of these masks at this point, but TeePublic is they're given medical grade masks to professionals, but only if you buy our masks. So they're like holding them hostage for but and also they just started doing it with our stuff. That said, we then designed our own mask because fuck it. And it says, let's peg on Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's grave.
Yes.
That's what the mask says, and you can wear it proudly on your face for everyone to see.
Brand.
Yep. So, yeah.
Tom, are we going to Predator? Are we going to Predator, Tom?
We should,
Tom.
Yeah. I can't tonight, but
course.
This weekend.
Do you mean like drive around looking for people to kidnap?
I didn't know. Who even needed that defined, Dave? Nobody needed it defined.
Sorry.
You just hop in a van and you go. Following your heart's whimsy. What the fuck, bro?
Uh-huh. Are we done?
Yeah, I think
we're done. Let's be done.
See you in the jungle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Our music is produced by Chris Corlew. You can follow him on Twitter at @thecorlew, CORLEW, and find more music at shipwreckedsailor.bandcamp.com. Our artwork is produced by Justin Brown. You can follow him on Twitter at @JustinTBrown, and find more of his artwork at artnessbyjustinbrown.com and justinbrown.info.